With Oberon's rework right around the corner, I figured now is a great time to talk about him a little bit. This video is going to focus almost entirely on applications of its favorite ability, Renewal. Renewal is a challenged ability that grants an initial heal on cast and then a constant heal to both Oberon and any allies that enter the range of the ability while active. It has a constant energy drain on top of an additional energy drain per actively healing ally. If you ever play Oberon with a Necros in your squad, you will see your drain rapidly increase while they have their shadows active. Also while Renewal is active, if you are to step onto the grass created by a second ability Hallowed Ground, you'll also receive some armor. But we don't care about any of that. What we actually care for is this line here, Bleed Out Slow. This is a very unique modifier that only Oberon has access to. The only way to obtain a similar effect is slotting in Undying Will, a mod I don't think I've ever seen anyone advocate for. Anyway, this Bleed Out Slow caps at 90%, which is achieved 200% ability duration. Typically your bleed out time would be 20 seconds. However, with Renewal we can extend that up to 200 seconds. Or you can pair this with Undying Will anyway, for a ridiculous near 6 minutes of downtime. So what's the point? Right now we're just stuck lying on the ground for longer. Well, there's a few things we can take advantage of now. First, this is actually great for Elite Temporal Archimedia and Elite Deep Archimedia. Even if you go down, the bleed out reduction is still applied to yourself. The same goes with teammates on the other side of the map, so long as they had the buff at one point. This is plenty of time for you to run over and revive someone in most situations. Not only that, but in EDA and ETA, your bleed out time is slowly reduced as you go down. This mechanic hardly affects your timer when Renewal is active. I don't know exactly what has happened here math-wise, but as you will see later, you don't really care about this mechanic as Oberon. We can take this one step further by using the Sacrifice mod paired with Prime Regen on a Sentinel companion. Sacrifice will cause your command to sacrifice itself to revive you. The revive will occur over 4 seconds and can only occur when your Sentinel is alive. This is good, but unreliable in most situations. With a bleed out time of 20 seconds and your Sentinel being down for upwards of 45 seconds, well, if the timer is off, your companion can't revive you. Renewal changes that. With my about 2 minutes of bleed out on the build I run, my Sentinel will always revive faster than I can bleed out. With Prime Regen, once the Sentinel revives itself, it also has 10 seconds of invulnerability. This will prevent enemies from interrupting your Sentinel from completing that 4-second revive, as your Sentinel is completely vulnerable during the revive otherwise. Let's take the setup in the EDA and see how long it takes to bleed out. So, something to unpack here. My Oberon doesn't even have 200% duration here, and it takes over 25 minutes of constantly going down before my timer even gets close to not meeting up with my Sentinel's revive. This is where I also made an additional discovery about the bleed out slow granted by Renewal. If you ever receive the Renewal buff, the slow is seemingly permanently applied to you, so long as you don't completely die. Simply activating the ability and turning it off again is enough to get that bleed out slow. Towards the end, I actually run out of energy and can't sustain Renewal anymore due to some magnetic procs, and it worked so well I got bored waiting to get to the mission fail screen. And of course, the tech doesn't end there. When we're down, we can still make use of our secondary weapon, which means we can still make use of some of the Bond mod revive mechanics to bring our Sentinel back even quicker, namely Tenacious Bond headshots or simply killing Xmas units while Momentous Bond is equipped. If your secondary is sufficient for killing enemies around you, you can get your Sentinel back to work even sooner. Okay, but Sacrifice is a pretty rare mod, all things considered, and many people don't have it. Since the mod is, as far as I know, exclusive to Plaguestar, that hasn't come back in a while, how can more people take advantage of this prolonged bleed out? Well, there's always more tech to be had. If you have Equilibrium of Violet Shards equipped, you can actually revive yourself by picking up energy orbs using the Energizing Shot mod while you are down. Energizing Shot causes you to pick up energy orbs you shoot at an increased effect, though this only works on non-AoE weapons. This can slot into the exo slot of your weapon so it isn't completely unreasonable to try and fit it in. You may have only really heard of this mod being used in meta arena farms or on Furious and Karnan. Since the Equilibrium effect lets you heal from energy orbs, this will allow you to instantly revive yourself, though you will get stuck in this awful animation and you may have to rolling guard out of it to avoid dying again right away. If you've ever gone down and seemingly instantly revived for no reason, it's actually a similar situation to this usually caused by being healed by a health orb the moment you go down. Still, this is very niche. What if there's no energy orbs around the shoot? Luckily, we are Oberon, and we can fix that. You'll likely play around Oberon's grasp quite a bit since it gives you status immunity, it is required for the armor strip and reckoning, it grants additional armor for Renewal, etc. But what will be most important here is that this means you'll likely be spreading around radiation. We compare this with Arcane Universal Fallout to create universal orbs. At rank 5, each radiation status effect on an enemy inflicted by an ability will cause that enemy to have a 6% chance to drop a universal orb. This goes up to 60% chance after 10 radiation procs have been inflicted. The effect is permanent, so this would only mean you would need to inflict 10 radiation status effects on an enemy for the maximum drop chance. You don't necessarily need the enemy to have 10 active radiation stacks when you kill them. Universal health orbs trigger all health and energy orb related effects. You probably see where I'm going with this. If we die on top of a grass with enemies around, there's going to be basically 60% chance for each enemy we kill to drop a universal orb for us to revive ourselves with. Arcane Universal Fallout might not be the most impressive arcane, but boy do I love the tech you can take advantage of with it. So we essentially have all these tools to revive ourselves if we do go down, and I haven't even gotten to the Renewal argument. Phoenix Renewal is straightforward. When you or an ally under Renewal's effect would die, you will be instead healed and granted a small invulnerability period. This effect has a cooldown of 90 seconds. This is essentially death prevention so long as you have the energy to keep Renewal active. If you're going 91 seconds between would-be deaths on average, you're already basically immortal. As a nice little bonus, you'll get a little red icon pop up letting you know if you or someone would have died and the argument saved them, just in case you wanted to rub it in that you're keeping your squad alive. This is all just things you can take advantage of essentially after dying. Health tanking, shield gating, shield tanking, iframing, crowd control, and so on are all still options to never get to that point in the first place. But I find this aspect of Oberon so interesting. Other frames can make use of some of the tech in this video, but not to this extent. Though be sure to experiment and let me know what other things you come up with. This is all I have for you guys on this one. Would you want a full Oberon level cap and steel power build guide? Show me your interest in the comments. You enjoy videos like this? Would you want more? I'm completely open to feedback, so please do let me know. Like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, and as always, thanks for watching.